All right. Well, I'm gonna kick us off and get started. I appreciate you guys going, and a lot of unrest and uncertainty and things that are going on in this world, and yet just having a really good opening dialogue. So obviously, I thought about things that are going on, and I woke up in the middle of the night and I went, you know what? The leadership team at this office, right, that I'm privileged to lead. I have three great guys that I respect a lot that can give us such a great perspective on everything that was going on. Maybe that came from somebody above because it wasn't my idea. And my thought was, let's just ask the leadership team here at Keller Williams. And personally, I go to people that I work with that I can go to get their perspective, right? And so really my intent is one objective is just to open up the space to have a conversation, because my perspective on the world, right, and where I grew up is not the same as yours in the way that you guys and life and things that come into it. And this is just not a victim. This is an open dialogue. And so the easiest way for me to start off the call is I'm just going to go, hey, tell us your story and tell us your background. Where were you born? Just give us a little backdrop. So who wants to start? You're all jumping to it.
I'll start.
Okay.
Okay. Born in North Las Vegas, and grandfather was in the Air Force. So my mother and grandmother were from Philly, moved to Vegas. My mother, once she had me, went back to Philly and married her high school sweetheart. So stepdad raised me, and growing up in Philly, disciplinarian, definitely kept me on track. And then I went to school in Pittsburgh, lived in Pittsburgh for 9 years, University of Pitt, and then moved to Chicago. And Chicago I thought was going to be 5 years, turned into 20. And then I'm here in Houston. So I've bounced around, but mainly in major cities.
Okay. What was your degree in school?
Material science engineering with a focus on plastics.
Sounds exciting.
Oh yeah, it's just accelerating.
All right, Jared, give us your background.
Yeah, so my parents were from Mobile, Alabama. It's a small town, country town. And then they moved to Houston when my dad did med school. And so he finished his med school program and finished his residency, and he became a doctor and had me like 20, 30 years later. So I'm Houston native, born and raised. And because of kind of opportunities that my parents had, I was able to go to a really good private school here in Houston. Went to Kincaid my whole life, from pre-K until pre-K until 12th grade. I was at Kincaid. So it was a great experience. I love the community. I've still a lot of friends there. My 10-year graduation is for next year. And then from there, I went to UT, where I studied accounting, and went top for 3 years. And now I'm back.
Where did you teach?
Spring Oaks Middle School. So it's like across the freeway from Memorial City Mall.
Okay. All right, Greg, let's get you off. You were on mute. Let's get you off of mute and we'll jump into it. Okay, good. All right, Greg, tell us your background.
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in New York. So I was born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens. My family is an immigrant family. So my parents are from Haiti. So both my parents are, my parents are actually pastors of a Haitian church in Long Island. My brother's a police officer. So he's actually a lieutenant in NYPD.
Wow.
So I I'm born and raised in New York. I think I lived a little bit in Wisconsin for a little bit, in Madison, Wisconsin. I lived in Chicago for a little bit. And I just, I've been in Houston for less than a year now. So right now it's 11 months. I've been in Houston. I've been an entrepreneur. I went to school, studying engineering. So a little bit different from what I do now, a lot different actually. But, I found my way just kind of doing, different extracurricular activities and, found my niche in marketing, and, I found Keller Williams, and here I am.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm glad you're here. Well, I respect you guys a lot. And yet let's just dig into the right into your perspective of, and we hit the topic of racism, right? And I would just like to, when you hear that and people have that perspective, does it occur, right? Does it occur with law enforcement? Let me just open it up to the forum of, can you an example of when that occurred? And walk us through that a little bit. Educate me on that.
All right, I'll just jump in. As recent as just, I guess, before Thanksgiving, my oldest son was coming home. Maybe at 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30, police at the door, and I come to the door. They have him in cuffs on the ground, searching his car, saying he's on something. I was like, well, what did he do? He turned the corner too fast. There's no stop sign. He turned the corner too far, too fast. They're stripping, going through his car. They want to see his ID. I had to verify he lived there, my ID, before they released him. No ticket, no citation issued. Just pulled him over and searched his car.
No apology, no, just a matter of way of doing business.
No, just kept accusing. He's on something. He's on something. But no ticket, no nothing. I'll let you guys share whatever you got. That's just one, but we have more panelists.
Yeah, I could go next. And you know, I've had probably too many situations with police officers. So one time, I mean, this is maybe one of the crazier ones. And this is when I was 18. So I'm in my first car, a 1990 Acura Integra, 2 of my friends, so 3 teenagers, basically. We was actually coming back from a youth service at our church. I was the driver. So we were driving down this main street, so decent amount of traffic in New York. And, you know, I did an illegal U-turn. An officer on foot, you know, he has his flashlight and he runs us, and we're still in the middle of the street. And he's yelling, "Stop the car, stop the car." And he's yelling, "Get out the car." Then another patrol vehicle comes by. And like now there's like 4 or 5 cops around us. They're yelling, "Get out the car." So we all get out the car, and now they're searching us. And then now a police van comes by with more cops. So when one cop turns to about 15 to 20 cops. And mind you, this is a busy street. So there's like buses passing by and all this happening. And they're searching all of us. They're searching my car. I remember them like, because we just came back from church. So they literally like flipping through my Bible, like seeing if there's something in there. Like it was pretty intense. And, you know, they actually like yelling and cursing at us too. Essentially like they wanted us to react so they can say disorderly conduct or like resisting arrest. They're trying to get us to do something. And then we're just like really calm. You know, we weren't participating in any illegal activities. We didn't have any marijuana. Our licenses were fine. But they were just really like searching for everything possible. They ended by just cursing at us a little bit more. And throughout that whole ordeal, didn't even get a traffic ticket. So clearly that's something not that they were looking for. They were just, you know, provoking us to create a situation out of something that could have been, you know, a $70 ticket or whatever it would have been. So that was pretty crazy. And then we were teenagers at the time. So, you know, we found a way to, you know, somehow we were really calm. And unfortunately, that wasn't our first experience. So, you know, we just knew like, just be calm. We haven't done anything. I mean, even though they're violating our rights at the time, we don't want this to escalate and we get hurt or arrested, because you get arrested on a Friday night, you spend in the weekend.
Yes, for me, thankfully, haven't had any bad interactions with cops or law enforcement or anything like that. I know family members that have had that experience, of course. But what I want to emphasize in this panel is the microaggressions that a lot of Black people, not just Black men, Black women, face every single day. And for those that don't know what microaggressions are, it's like those little reminders that you're Black. And like, it's said in subtle ways. Again, it's usually not from a hateful place, at least now. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But I distinctly remember a few situations that happened when I was at Kincaid, you know, at a predominantly white school. So I remember in 6th grade, like I love Kincaid, love the people there. I treat them like my family. Like I love a lot of those students that I went to school with. But I remember like one of my best friends at the time, like he, I guess, was discovering the N-word, and like he would say it to me, but he wouldn't like say it hatefully. He would just say, you know, nigger, and like run away, right? And so I was facing the situation: should I like run after him? Should I fight him? I didn't know what to do. Like in my mind, even now, I'm still like, I'm not sure what to do in certain situations like that. And that went on for like a few months or whatever. And I eventually stopped. We just kind of went over it. But it just reminds you, like, there's different times where you can think you're equal with your peers, but there's little things that remind you that you're not. And so, like, that's what's so disheartening to me about this whole situation. It's like, man, we've come so far from the 60s, the 70s, you know, we've improved, we progressed, you know, look at us in the painting, we all have degrees in like engineering and accounting, like we've gone so far. And then look at the news, and it's like we're still treated the same or sometimes worse than what we were in the 60s or 70s. And so that's what's so heartbreaking sometimes, when you just deal with, you think you're farther along on the race than you are, and then you're reminded that you're not all the time. And so that's what this experience, all the unarmed Black men and women who've been killed, has been eye-opening to me, because it just shows me that, man, like, we still have so much more to go.
So what would you want people to learn during this time? Obviously, you have personal experiences, right? Certainly different than my perspective on everything's up. Even my kids, when we have conversations with it as well, because they don't see it and feel it. And so this is just, what would you say is, what would you like people to learn from this panel and just moving forward?
I'll let one of you young guys start first, and I'll jump in.
Jerry, you want to get to it?
Yeah, I can jump in.
Yeah.
My biggest thing I want people to take away from this, and just in your other conversations with or Black people or minorities in general, because not just Black people, is that minorities, especially Black people, are not a monolith. Like, I know we experience things, and we have like the similar emotions of sadness and anger, but there's like a spectrum of how we feel, right? So some people, when they saw the riots and the police shooting, they were thinking, oh man, there's another Black body, I'm sad, da, da, da. Some people want to protest just to get that, release that frustration out. And then there's others who want to riot, want to loot, and do all those different things. And so I think it's so easy for people who aren't Black to kind of paint a picture and say, oh, all Black people have this, or all Black people are looting, and different things like that. But you have to really talk with the Black people in your community to see how they're really feeling, because we're all feeling the same sadness, but it's all different kind of emotion. And so I just want to emphasize, we're not a monolith, so make sure you just check in with your Black friends, and understand that some of them are not going to want to talk to you about this. And don't take it personally. Just see it from the mindset that this has been happening for decades. And so this isn't the first time. And so for many people, this is like the first experience that they've had going through this. And so they feel as though like, oh man, I need to do something. But for Black people, it's like, man, this is like the 100th, unarmed Black person I've seen in the past 10, 20 years. I don't want to talk about it. Because sometimes it feels like you have to explain yourself, explain your emotions, explain how you feel. And it's not always receptive to people who aren't Black. And so if people don't want to talk to you about it, don't take that personally. But at the same time, have conversations of open dialogue with the people who do want to talk about it, because it is powerful, and it is encouraging to, especially being here at Keller Williams in this family atmosphere where people want us, to hear our voices and hear our experiences. It's encouraging to have the stage and able to talk about these things openly. So I appreciate that.
Okay, good stuff. Greg?
That was really good. Yeah, I would just say, just kind of, to the best ability, that respecting and understanding of everyone's experience, and how we are, like who we are, the complete experience we have, both positive and negative experiences, and then not to understate the gravity of each experience that we do have. I mean, when I was sharing my story, had I reacted any other way, that could have literally derailed my entire life. You could literally go to jail or worse, and I wouldn't be here, because you have something on your record or whatever the case may be. can't get an apartment, can't get a place, and all that. And all it takes is, you know, something, a simple interaction, which was, you know, a illegal U-turn. And it shouldn't lead to, you know, the potential threat on that level. But at the same time, you know, and I think I really speak for all of us when we say, like, you know, we still feel like we're blessed in terms of life, right? Like, we still know that we can, despite all that, like, you know, we still live in full lives. We still, you know, feel blessed. We don't feel like we're these, you know, I guess victims, you know, in victim mentality, right? Like, things happen to us and we overcome it and we stand strong. And, you know, we keep progressing in life in every way possible. So, you know, that'd be one thing, just, you know, respecting the experience and understanding that, like, we're overcoming it regardless.
I guess I would like to say, I want to first acknowledge you, Chad, that, you know, I didn't know what to do. I want to respect your position. So I sent you a text. And before I could turn around, you were back on my phone with, let's do this, let's do that. So it was on your mind beforehand. And so I appreciate you even taking the time to open the floor. Secondly, I want to acknowledge that I appreciate all the other folks, you know, not African Americans or other cultures that have joined in the call for equality. So that is big. What's important is to understand that despite we come from different backgrounds, we might dress different ways, but we all face the same mess every day. Doctor, athlete, or you could be a gangbanger. It doesn't matter. So that gets exhausting. But like Greg said, we still progress. And I remember being their age when the Rodney King thing happened. I had to go to work. I was in Western Pennsylvania, blue collar town, and just the total insensitivity to the whole thing. It was frustrating. And so it's frustrating that I'm here again and I'm watching these two young guys go through it again. So I would say there's a lot to be learned. And have you guys, you know, I just got a Netflix account, so I'm going to tell myself. Mother's Day gift was a Netflix account. I watched the show 13. And if you want to get understanding of the historical perspective, how law has been used against people of brown color, watch that documentary. It'll give you the historical standpoint of it. At the end of the day, in the age of information, I need to do a better job with how I use my vote, who I vote for, and make sure it's going to promote equality. Don't get sucked in by a party. What is the content of the policy that they stand on, and how is it going to help bring about equality? That's my responsibility. I think everybody needs to look at people as individuals and not get typecast everybody just because of the color of their skin. We can go a lot further. Glad I'm with an organization that embraces. I'm at an office that embraces that, and a culture and an organization that promotes that. But this office truly fosters diversity and welcoming and sharing one another's experiences. And I want to thank a man in this office that kind of helped tip me on the school, on the educational path to look deeper. And I don't think he wants his name shared, but he knows who he is. So that's just the kind of office we have where we can share. And hopefully we can be an example as we leave these doors on what can happen.
Yeah, those stories that you guys share, they're sad. It breaks my heart. And so I'll put it in a perspective, because I don't know your shoes. Yet I grew up in a small town in Colorado, right? There was diversity there because it was an agriculture community with your basically your workers who came from Central America. And yet there was a handful of Black families, African-American families, and one was really close to us. And his name was Anthony, and Anthony basically was a Jehovah's Witness, so they didn't celebrate anything. So he was over at our house anytime we were celebrating, and he came in and he was just one of us, right? And Anthony was laid back and low key. And so when I came back from college, we went out to a bar, and my brothers were there, and we were having a good time, and we were wrestling. My brothers were wrestling, and Anthony's just in the back, and he's laughing at us. And we basically get kicked out of the bar because of behaviors of, we were just wrestling with each other, and we thought we were fighting. So we left. Well, all of a sudden we got pulled over. And, you know, I'm 21 years old, and they say, we need the Black man out of the car right now. And I go, no, 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 no. He didn't do anything. It's us. And so I started to confront them. And Anthony has to stand back and goes, Chad, I know what they're doing. Go sit in the car. And I said, no, this is baloney. And yet he was the one telling me to relax and calm down and not to let it escalate. And so they took him and did the thing similar to the stories you guys tell, right? To aggravate him and get him excited. And he came back. And I said, that was a load of crap. It's the best way I could put it. And I was ready to go down for it. And he had to calm me down at the same time. And so that always stuck with me. I get it. He did nothing wrong. The only reason they questioned Tyson was because of the color of his skin. And when you hear those stories, that makes me sad. And so part of this conversation is I get that as well. I'll tell you a similar story. I don't even like the word to use, the white privilege and all that, because when they're there, you can go, that's certainly there. We were out on Thursday night. I was at a friend's house. Everybody knows I like to light fireworks. And so we were doing a little party of ordering our fireworks to be delivered. And there was crimes that were committed in a neighborhood, Alkire Lakes, and there's a string of robberies. And so I had my buddy who was driving, right? He doesn't drink or anything, and he drove us. And we literally were getting pulled over on 59 because we're coming out of this neighborhood. And there were 2 to 3 cop cars that came up on us. And yet we were 3 white men. And yet we pushed back a little bit. What are you guys doing? No, we're not giving you IDs. No, we haven't done anything wrong. And I know one thing is a fact. If I was the same skin color as you, that would not have been the same outcome. And that makes me sad for you as well. And that is the pieces that I want people to do, is to open up the dialogue. And yet we can use everyone's perspective in this. And yet I want to lean on you guys as leaders. Okay, so let me wrap this conversation up, because you guys have grown great as leaders in this company and before. Give us a leadership strategy, techniques, advice, and tie this back into being, despite all this, you show up and be leaders, and show us what's important about you being a leader today.
What's important for me about being a leader is I got family, I got kids, and I want my sons and daughters I want them to not, if I can, I don't want them to experience this. And if they do, I want them to know how to handle themselves such that they get home. And so I don't have a talk, or I need to. I think they've seen it. When I've been pulled over, yes, sir, I keep calm for whatever reason. For the most part, I've been fortunate that I do make it home. Unfortunately, there's those that don't. And so when I'm out in my position, or just if I wasn't in this position, I want my kids to see a man that respects the country, respects his family, and is trying to provide a legal lifestyle for them to excel and obtain whatever dreams they have. So I need to do better with how I cast my vote, be more knowledgeable, and understand the systems I'm working in, and work to change it. If I don't vote, if I'm not active, and I don't participate, I've just given up. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep fighting. So that's where I'm coming from.
Okay, great.
I think Keith touched on a good point, that being silent is in some ways being complicit to what's already being perpetuated in the system. And so for me, being a young Black leader, I was a part of an organization called NABA in college. It's the National Association of Black Accountants. And their motto was lifting as we climb. And so I see that when I am in different leadership positions or different positions of influence. I think about to my dad, who's the first doctor in his family, the first person to graduate college in his family. And like, because of him, I saw college as being possible. I saw getting an education as possible and all that good stuff. And so that's why me and my brother are the way we are today. And so I want to be a role model to hopefully my future children one day, or someone that sees me and comes across me and saying, wow, just because I'm Black and just because the system's against me doesn't mean I should be hopeless. Doesn't mean that it's impossible for me to succeed. So me being a Christian, a man of faith, I'm always hopeful that justice will be served in this life or the next. And I'm hopeful that, we are here as a community to make each other better. Whether you're black, white, brown, Asian, whatever it is, we're here to lift as we climb, and just continue to push the conversation, push the progression forward, so that all of us can be successful. I know none of us wants this to happen to any race, you know, whether it be white, black, whatever it is. And so I just want to be an example for myself, an example for my future children, an example for others, that just because the cards are stacked against us doesn't mean we can't have success and show black excellence at the highest level.
Yeah, I guess definitely similar and piggybacking on them in terms of, like, you know, this idea of just keep going. I mean, I have this motto, let's keep building, which you know, I've said to other people who are in business. Like, you know, when things like this happen, you know, I think you have to take time to reflect. But, you know, you got to keep going. You know, you got to, you know, especially if I'm coming from the entrepreneur side, like, you know, your business got to keep going. Things are going to continue to happen, whether it's this or something else. But, you know, the world doesn't, you know, slow down for you, right? Like, you know, so all the opportunities that you need to go, you got to still go out there and get there and, you know, overcome, you know, the moment, so you can, to protect your future and the future of your family. So, you know, that's, you know, piggyback on what they said, that's definitely been my mentality, and definitely mentality I would pass on to, you know, to anybody, no matter what your circumstances.
All right, Tied Home. Anything that I missed that I should have asked you that I didn't? I know we got lots of comments to it. Anything that you think that you wanted to cover or ask, or Tied Home?
I guess we all have to, you know, this groundswell across the country, we all have to look at ourselves and our beliefs, and it's going to challenge everybody. If we really want to make the conversation mean something, some of the people we idolize, when you take a deep, hard look, it might change. And so are you willing to allow that shift in your mental thought processes to move the whole country forward in terms of race and how to really relate to each other as human beings? And so that's what I would ask. Challenge yourself. If you really want to have a good conversation, be willing to, oh, I was wrong. The Kaepernick and the now kneeling, I was wrong. So just those kind of things that we have been entrenched in the beginning, take a hard look at them and say, maybe I was wrong, and how can I get better? That's it.
Yeah.
All right, there's another perspective that came up, and the trend is, obviously we have 3 men are on this panel, right? And I get it doesn't end there, but the perspective of, and so you got to speak on your significant other, right? How would you answer some of the comments if you're reading? You guys got great posts. If you just include the panelists, it just goes to them and it doesn't go everywhere on the audience. So if you wanted other to see them, which I'm open to that, you might want to copy them and put it to everyone on the screen. But Keith, how would you answer that perspective of women and how they fit into this as well?
Well, they're huge. They're, unfortunately, I guess I'm concerned that they're starting to face the same challenges as the men. Before you would think, okay, the women had safe passage. They're just as vulnerable as we are. And so I'm very concerned. It's not just the men. Systemically, it was the men that were pretty much attacked, because you take away the men, you weaken the family. But now it's extended to the women. And so we all have to really take a look at ourselves, change things, change our perspective, and look at it as a country. If we're really going to be inclusive, it's a country. The women have just as much pressure as we have had. And so I feel for them. Bland, so many other women have just been senselessly taken for no clear reason at all.
Okay. Anything else we missed? Well, here, let me just do this. I appreciate you guys opening. Yeah, Greg, you go ahead. Anything I missed?
I would just say, I guess, you know, as it pertains to like all the protests that's going on, and like the rioting and some of the looting, like, you know, just everyone be mindful. Like, some people are using this for their own agenda. So like some of the looting has nothing to do with the actual protest and the meaning behind it. There's just some people, And this is people of all backgrounds like that taking advantage of this throughout the country. And I was talking to a lot of my friends in New York and seeing what's going on while like a lot of people looting in Manhattan. And these are people that don't even live in the neighborhood. They're coming from other places and just taking advantage because they know a lot of the police are with the protesters, and they're coming from everywhere else and they're just looting and making the, diluting the message or destroying the message. So I just say to everyone, just be mindful of what you watch, and not everything is exactly what it seems.
Yeah.
I also have something. Don't let this be another moment. I know if you look at the past 4 or 5 years when all this has been like kind of filmed on cameras and different things, we've had several, Trayvon Martin, Philando Castile, Breonna Taylor, so many Black and brown women who have been, men and women who have been killed senselessly, right? And so I think there's a point where you can kind of get desensitized to it. I remember talking to my sister-in-law about the mod shooting a few months ago, and she was like, I just feel so jaded, I just feel like this is just another thing. And so it can easily turn that way. And so especially for people who are non-Black, you don't let this be another moment, something popular hits on your news feed and you kind of forget about it in a couple months because something else happens. But use this as an opportunity while your heart's still breaking, while you're still getting pulled by your heartstrings to really educate yourself. I know on the chats we're talking about different documentaries. He talked about the 13 article or 13 documentary, and there's plenty of community activism going around all around the country, all around the calendar year as well. And so use this time as the time to educate yourself, get involved, see what you can do from your perspective, from your sphere of influence, and let's make the change together. Because I don't think it's just Black people who are charged in making a change for Black people, or Latinas making charge, or changes for Latinas. I think we're all collectively involved in this together. And so, yeah, so don't let's be another moment. Let us all work together so we can really see all of us be uplifted.
And if I can say, Chad, one more thing. I've heard people say, well, you always have one bad cop. Or this, as Greg told me, if you were on a plane and someone said, well, we have a few bad pilots that don't know how to land a plane, that wouldn't be acceptable. And in law enforcement, it should be the same way. We can't say, oh, it's just one bad cop. It's a systemic problem that we all have to face and change, and it's not acceptable. It's just not acceptable.
That's absolutely right. Well, here's I'll wrap it up. I appreciate you guys being willing to jump on here and share your story. And there's lots to lose. And I will be the mid is we're all programmed a certain way, right? And we all come with some sort of prejudice and stereotypes, and we gotta fight those as much as we come. I was not raised in a home. We were raised in a home that loved all people, right? And so the message to Keller Williams is, may we be an office that all people are loved. We be a place that we're accepting, we're open to conversations, that we just let our guard down just a little bit and ask the question. And here's how I'm going to drive it home to you. If there is ever a time that you would get to your database and call and just check on people and have no biases and just do a care call and just say, hey, how you're doing, it would be today. That's community, and it's going to drive your business forward because you're coming with an open and servant heart, and the world craves that more than ever. So call and check on people. Don't have biases, right? We call biases. Eliminate those and just be open and for the discussion. So I appreciate you guys. I'm glad you're part of the team here. I'm glad you're on my team. You guys show up and you work every day. I know you drive and you want to serve others, and that is something you just can't find on all teams. So thank you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing your story. If there's any way else I can be a resource and open things up as well. I see all sorts of things, and there's so much resources that we need to learn more about. And yet, thank you guys for your grateful hearts and sharing.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, now don't leave yet, just because we're getting rid of these three great guys. Next up, we have Mike Wong. So Mike Wong's going to jump on, and he's going to share a little bit. Let me get to my waiting room. You think I would be good at this, but Mike's going to jump on, and Mike's more of his story. He might give us a little insight, and yet Mike is running for office because he doesn't have enough to do. Mike, you there? Did we lose him? All right, I'll plug for him. So Mike Wong, as you know, great tool in our office, a person, when I say he's a great resource and value, a tool for us to use in the commercial arena. He's also running for office, so he's going to need our help to be elected for an HAR commercial board. He'll give us the exact term. I wanted to get on and get his perspective and tell us a little bit. I guess he's not, he doesn't want to talk. He's coming. I can hear Barbara through the wall and they're running on it. Greg, Jared, you guys you can stay on, you can hang out, you can go do your thing. I know Jared's doing transmittal. He's rock star back there, closing out the books for the month as well. We're waiting for Mike to get on there as well. So don't leave yet. Bear with me. We're getting Mike on here to talk a little bit.
All right, see you guys. Thank you for having me.
All right. Go transmit.
Will do.
You're awesome. Thank you. All right, Mike's working on getting on. All right, let me give you a little perspective of real estate while we're waiting for Mike to get on, what we're seeing in the market, right? We have loads of pending transactions that are showing up in June and July. So I hope you're working hard. We have a supply of buyers are chomping at the bit to buy right now. I think they would just kind of put things on hold and they're working for it. And then we got a lack of listings. We need more listings. You're like, no kidding, Chad. We always need more listings. No, you get a listing right now, there's a chance that could really go into contract and move fast on it as well. The opportunity is out there for people if we really go out and work hard at it and move along with the real estate market. Gary Keller, I was on a call with him last week. He says 80% of his day he spends with top producers. 80% of his day he's visiting with agents. And he says they're all thriving in this environment right now. And he goes, you know how they're doing it? He goes, what? Care calls. They're calling in and checking on people. And it's pushing their business. Just the servant attitude where we go back and check on people is really cool. All right, Mike, you there? I can hear you through the wall, but not on the actual call.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. All right, Mike. Appreciate you jumping on.
Absolutely.
How's it going? Tell us a little bit what you're doing and how we can help.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank, the panelists today and this conversation we're having. It kind of threw off my train of thought from what I was actually going to say, but, we're having some conversations we need to have. And, I know I was invited on to speak about running for.
You can speak whatever you want. You're okay.
Well, I'm running for the Houston Association Board of Directors for the commercial members section. And voting won't be until the end of July and early August. I think it's like July 28th through August 3rd or something. A lot of people are asking me why I'm running, and it kind of with everything going on, it makes me realize the root of why I'm running. But, this is something I've thought about for a long time. And, looking back at our office and the people we're with, we've produced a lot of great leaders out of this office, out of this company. For example, our diversity groups, HBREA is led by LaDonna Parker from our office. NAREP Houston is led by Danny Garcia from our office. Dan Goon was a chair of Fort Bend HAR, the chair of Asian American Real Estate Association. I'm now serving as the chair. And so when we see those groups growing and coming from our office, it says a lot about what comes from here and what comes from our heart. I see HAR as an opportunity to grow another step, to bring in leadership, to bring in diversity, to bring in ideas that I can share to help the organization grow and encompass more commercial members or encompass people who want to learn commercial and go that way in their career.
So what do you need us to do?
I need your votes. I need your support. I'm running, this election's pretty intense, not just in my category, but there's a lot of categories with a lot of people running. What I'm going to tell you is, look at each candidate, look at their resume, look at not just their production, but what they do in the community, who they serve, where they volunteer. It's more than just you know, I produce this amount, I'm capable of this. It's what do you do besides produce? Where do you give back? That's what we're looking for as far as servant leaders, not only in our office, in our industry. You know, Keith brought up a good point about, you know, police officers not being bad. We had some incidents where, you know, right now there's a lot of opinions going on in social media, and we're seeing people say things that, frankly, they embarrass our industry, they embarrass us, and it's up to us to police that. You know, a lot of people are getting called out. We've got to weed it out. You know, there's no room for racism in our industry. There's no room for intolerance in our industry. So it's good that people are stepping up. It's good that we're more aware. It's good that we're having these conversations, and you know, hopefully they continue, and we finally see a change from this.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to vote. If there's new people on this and they've never voted before, tell them exactly how easy it is when it opens up at the end of July.
Sure. When you log into HAR, when you check into MLS, there's going to be a banner on the top, and it's right now the banner says "Meet your candidates for 2021." You can scroll through there. There's about, I believe there's over 40 candidates now for different positions. You can scroll through there and look through the profiles. When it becomes time for voting, you'll see the banner change and it'll say vote for your candidates. You can only vote once, but you'll log in, you'll vote, and it'll record it. And again, I believe it's July 28th or 27th through about August 3rd.
Okay. Even if I didn't know any of the candidates and all I wanted to do was go vote for Mike Wong, I could do that, right?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Okay. Well, obviously you want to educate yourself. I appreciate you serving our community as well. You better have 500 votes from our office alone. So we'll help you rally up the votes from here as well, just being a leader and representing us in a high level. I appreciate your serving hard, always speaking well. Hey, real quick while I got you on, what's going on in the commercial real estate market?
You know, it's hard to say. It hasn't calmed down where, you know, obviously you know, hotels are getting beat up really bad right now.
Yeah.
Office space is going to change. You know, everybody's used to working from home. Companies going to rethink their square footage footprint on what they actually need. You know, initially 2 months ago, I said 20% of our businesses won't survive. It looks like we're moving towards 30% now. So there's a lot of great businesses and longtime Houston establishments that are going away, unfortunately, and we're going to see some big companies struggle as well to come out of this. So it's definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting as well. All right, Mike, thank you so much. You got my vote. I know we'll get rallied up and make sure that we have it as well. I appreciate your serving hard as well. How many times you won the Eagle Award?
Twice.
Yeah.
Twice. And then my latest honor was, you know, Houston Association Realtor of the Year, and my familia and our rep honored me as well as Realtor of the Year. So I just thought I'd carry the momentum forward and move up in leadership.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate your serving hard. I really appreciate you being here and joining us well, and we'll make sure we get your votes going.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. All right. We're not done yet, everyone. Got real quick. Couple people left as well. All right. As they're getting on, I hope you guys recognize, and I really like the people in our office, right? We have great leaders. You know, bold coaches travel across the country and they come here and every one of them, they go, I hope you know how unique your office is with the group of people that you have. The diversity, and yet they say because the love, the tolerance, the helping of others, and the diversity goes, we don't see that. Even people that go and do bowls in the New York area or something, our diversity and the way that reflects is awesome. So, and that's not anything to do with me, right? I get out of people's way and let them lead at a high level, and let them do their thing and be open to it. All right, let's jump to it. Dale.
Good morning.
What's going on in the lending world, financing?
Well, a lot of craziness. Real quickly, though, I just want to thank the guys that came on board to, you know, there's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of different feelings that are involved in that. And thank you for the courage for you guys to get up and just share the information, because it really, truly does open people's eyes. So thank you. Mortgage industry, things are looking like rates are starting to trickle up just a little bit for some different loans. We've had conversations as a lender with other investors that we work with in regards to some of the qualifications for minimum credit score guidelines. Some of the people that are out there, we're seeing minimum 640 credit scores in order to be able to qualify for FHA loans. Some of the down payment assistance, as we had discussed, have gone up to 700 minimum credit scores. Debt requirements are tough. One thing we're seeing that's kind of slowing down the transactions again is that the government has asked creditors for mortgage companies or auto payments or even student loans to not report late payments. Well, the way that they've done this is just shown on credit reports that there's a zero amount that's currently owed. We're in the business to get paid back as a mortgage lender, and we have to count all of the debt that these people currently have. When they go back into working, when their payments start to become due again, we want to make sure that we've got accurate numbers. So we are now being required to go back, contact these creditors, make sure what those payments are they in deferment or are they in forbearance? And this is adding a lot of time to the transaction. So if you know you've got buyers that are working right now, get them on board, make certain that they've gotten with a lender that knows where they stand, that this deal can happen for them. Because the worst thing you can do is go write an offer right now for 30 days. It takes 45 to 60 days to close. You're out of contract. We want to make sure that you guys make closings on time.
Okay. What's your forecast of moving forward? Interest rates? I know it's not a crystal ball. We're not guaranteeing anything. Sure. What do you think is kind of moving forward? What would give?
The forecast is that interest rates are going to stay low. You know, it is good for America to have home sales. It's good for people to save money and to have extra money to be able to spend in other things. And so the refinance business obviously is going to add volume and capacity to lenders getting deals done, but ultimately it's going to save potential buyers money. We're seeing that people are qualifying the lower end homes for the first time home buyers. Those homes are being grabbed up so fast, it's unbelievable. So, you know, as an agent, you may want to tell these people this is a highly competitive sector of our market, that if you want to get a house as a first time home buyer, you better be prepared to make an offer. It needs to be a good one.
Yeah.
Rates are phenomenal. It's unbelievable when I look at some of the payments just based on full payment for principal and interest, taxes and insurance with such low rates. A $300,000 house costs you about $2,100 with just a minimum down payment. That's the forecast, is they're going to continue to stay low.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. Okay. Reliant Energy. You're still selling electricity?
I don't only sell electricity. I also can give your clients, your tenants, phone number, direct phone number for gas, water, trash, internet. So it's all in one package with the electricity, okay? No cost at you. And so often the customer asks me, do you charge me for doing those? I say no. So also you can get referral money out from the referral too, okay? So this month I'm going to run a contest for those agents who send me the most referral that I close. And then the first page we get $100 worth of referral point. Second page we get $50 of points, okay?
I added that to your the chat so everybody could see that as a Move Your Concierge, because you just had it for the panels, not all attendees.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Awesome.
And it's easy. All you need to do is just text me or email me. So you can refer your family to, not only your client and tenant like Kimber. Yeah. Just refer her daughter yesterday. So yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. All right. Keith, you still on there? He's not. Okay. Hey, all right, this is my final. I thank you guys for jumping on the panel, open for discussion, opening the space. I would just tell you guys, continue to seek information, right? Let us be a learner of all different places. We live in a really awesome place based on our diversity and love. I do think our office is really great. Not Andy and I, you know, pour into it. The whole thing I ever want people to say is they love people, right? And they serve them at the highest level. Didn't mean I compromise on things that are really core beliefs to it. And yet, can we go out and love and serve others? Needed more than ever. And I think that's just real estate. If you go out and you have a servant heart and you help people through the transaction and you help as well. You know, Dale's refinancing my home right now. It's going to save us a lot of money. And I'm probably his worst client because he can't get the last paperwork in. He fights back to me as, I believe in Keller Mortgage and it really has a place and we can use that as a tool. And yet I need Dale showing up and going and tracking down that last piece of paper along the way. Let's just go and serve people at a high level. Do your care calls, really check into it. We're not supposed to be hugging. It's COVID-19 time. All right, Keith, you got any final thoughts tying this all back to real estate? You're on mute. You're still on mute.
Okay.
Okay. Final thoughts. Tie this all back into it. Thank you for sharing today. Tie this back what you're hearing in real estate and how to push people forward.
We all have to just take inventory of ourselves, understand that people are people, and that we have to work together. If we're going to take this country to the next level, got to shatter those old perceptions, focus on the task at hand, business, and really supporting one another to get through this pandemic, to get through the economic crisis we're facing. Yeah. You got to shatter those old perceptions.
Yeah.
People are people.
2020 is a wild ride. Oh yeah, by the way, there's a storm brewing in the Gulf too. Just to add to everything we got going on, let's say it misses this as well, and just keep, all I can do as encouragement is just call and check on people. Look ways that we can serve and support as well. And if there's anything as a leadership team, anything that I can do, that Andy can help you, I hope you never hesitate to reach out, excuse me. I hope you never hesitate to reach out, that we could help you in any way possible. Okay. Thank you guys. Great discussion. Open to more as well. Have a fantastic day. Thank you.
Thank you.